Right, so we've all heard about abandoned stations on the tube, right? But did you know that there's an entire line that's no longer part of the tube? It's been known by many names. Officially, it's called the Moorgate Line. It was opened as the Great Northern and City Railway. At one time it was the Highbury branch. Some call it the Big Tube, but it's most commonly known as the Northern City Line. It's a real oddity. It runs from Finsbury Park to Moorgate. It was constructed like a deep-level line, but was designed to hold full-size trains, and for the difference between the two, see the video linked in the description below. The reason for this was to give the Great Northern Railway, a main line company running from King's Cross, direct access to the city. The line opened in 1904. Arguably, it shouldn't have been an underground line in the first place. It was never intended as such. It was bought out by the Metropolitan Railway in 1913, who planned to link it to their own line at Moorgate and to the Waterloo and City Railway at Bank, which potentially would have made it a very profitable line indeed. Unfortunately, Parliament partially blocked their plans, and so the scheme was abandoned. The Northern City Line remained isolated from the rest of the Underground. In 1933, the Metropolitan was taken over by London Transport, along with its adopted child, the Northern City. The Northern City was transferred over to the Northern Line for operational purposes, even though it didn't directly connect with it. But there was a big plan afoot that would finally enable the Northern City to reach its full potential. In the 1930s, there was a scheme called the Northern Heights. This scheme was essentially a series of extensions to the Northern Line, and really this plan could justify a video in itself, and maybe it will. But for our present purposes, what you need to know is that the Northern Line would have taken over the surface railway from Finsbury Park to Alexandra Palace, and incorporate the Northern City. The Second World War put the kibosh on this scheme. Having twice been deprived of the opportunity to make itself really useful, the Northern City found itself cut back to Drayton Park in the 1960s to make way for the Victoria Line. In 1975, the Underground decided it was no longer in their interest to retain such an odd little line, and so it was arranged to transfer it to British Rail. But not before it was the site of tragedy. On the 28th of February 1975, at 8:46 a.m, a tube train crashed into the dead end at Moorgate, killing 43 people and injuring 74. It was the worst peacetime disaster on the London Underground, and the exact cause remains a mystery to this day. Nevertheless, the handover went ahead as planned, and ever since, the Northern City Line has remained a part of the National Rail network. I recommend exploring it at the weekend. It tends to be pretty quiet and more than a little eerie. Some of the stations, like Essex Road here, retain decor from the 1980s. Myself, I'm very fond of the station building at Highbury Corner, which has been pleasantly restored in recent years. So ends the tale of one of the stranger lines on the Underground. Hi all, thanks for watching this idiosyncratic episode of Tales from the Tube. If you liked it, let me know via the like button, and if you want more, then press subscribe. I'm actually thinking of doing some videos on the Northern Heights extension, as well as one going into more detail about the Moorgate disaster. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see, or indeed if there's anything else you'd like me to look at. Otherwise, hope to see you again soon. Cheerio.